My name is Mia Oliver, and this is my science fair project, Pumped Up. This project explores cardiovascular disease and the cardiovascular system through the use of a model. I chose this topic because of personal interest in human physiology, and two of my grandparents are affected by heart disease, so I wanted to learn a little more about it. If I can build a model representing blood flow through different sized arteries, then the flow will be slower through a narrower artery. The purpose of this project is to build a model demonstrating blood flow through arteries and the effects of cardiovascular disease. What is the cardiovascular system and how does it function? The cardiovascular system is in charge of transporting blood filled with oxygen and nutrients to other parts of the body. This system consists of the heart, blood vessels, and blood. The heart pumps blood that travels through the blood vessels to the rest of the body. Arteries carry blood away from the heart, veins carry blood back towards the heart, and capillaries are very small blood vessels that branch off from the arteries. What is blood pressure? Blood pressure is the force of blood pushing against the blood vessels. Blood pressure is highest when the heart pumps. This is called systolic blood pressure. Blood pressure is lowest when the heart rests between pumps. This is called diastolic blood pressure. The average blood pressure for an adult is 120 mercury systolic blood pressure and 80 mercury diastolic blood pressure. What are the dangers of high blood pressure? High blood pressure can damage the inner liner of the artery walls and can cause aneurysms. What is cardiovascular disease? Cardiovascular disease is when plaque builds up in the artery, causing it to narrow. This makes it harder for blood to flow through the artery. Also, pieces of plaque can break off, forming a blood clot. How common is cardiovascular disease? Cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death in the world. About 17.9 million people die of heart disease every year. In Canada, 9 in 10 Canadians have at least one risk factor of heart disease, and one person in Canada dies of heart disease every 5 minutes. What are the dangers of cardiovascular disease? Cardiovascular disease can cause congestive heart failure, heart attacks, and strokes. What are the symptoms of cardiovascular disease? Symptoms of CVD include chest pain, discomfort, and tightness, shortness of breath, weakness or coldness in the arms or legs, and pain in the jaw, neck, throat, upper abdomen, or back. This is a picture of the materials I used for my project. The tubes and connector were repurposed from an air compressor. This video shows how I conducted my experiment. The results of this project were that the average time to flow 250 milliliters of water was about twice as fast for the 6 millimeter tube compared to the 3 millimeter tube. The flow was slower through both tubes during the heart disease simulation. The 3 millimeter simulation was about 13 times slower than it was without the simulation. Overall, the model was successful. I was able to construct a model using simple materials to represent blood flow through different sized arteries. The flow was quicker through a larger tube and slowed during simulation of cardiovascular disease. Sources of error in my project included the accuracy of measuring the water. If I looked at the measuring cup from above, I underestimated how much water was in the cup and vice versa. Also, timing the flow of water varied due to my reaction time, and coordinating starting the stopwatch and flow of water at the same time. Spilling water when it was flowing also affected the accuracy of timing and measure. In conclusion, a model of the cardiovascular system can be created with simple materials. The model can be used to demonstrate the effects of cardiovascular disease. This model can also be used by teachers as a fun and engaging way to teach students about the cardiovascular system and cardiovascular disease. I would like to thank my parents, Will Oliver, Mr. Trotta, and Mr. Rezajan for helping me with my project.